Hello, everybody. You're listening to 89.5 WAHS Auburn Hills.
I love the subtle smirk of pain that you have when the show starts.
So, like, is this really happening? Yes. And it's like now you just kind of have to breathe and come to terms with it. It's happening for real, and just embrace it.
Episode 20 billionth?
13.
A
little short of 20 billion, but we're working on it.
But we're working on it.
Stay tuned.
Last time, if you joined us last time, or if you're on YouTube right now listening to this, because this will be like a nice little series on YouTube, hopefully when we finish it. Keyword when.
If
you were listening last time, we were playing an adventure book called Choice of Broadsides. Also on the App Store, if you want to look it up. The authors of it have several other books.
You should find their name again. I just want to thank them. I feel bad rating a book without giving them a shout out for being wonderful.
Lead writer Adam Strong Morse and writers Heather Albano and Dan Fabulich. Choice script language design and development Dan Fabulich. Choice of anyways,
so thank you.
They have a whole bunch of different books that they have written, and it's on the App Store. And then there's their business called Choice of Games, so they have a bunch of different choice of, and then whatever the context is.
Yeah, we're not a sponsor. We just think there's
I
books.
just want to give them a shout out so other
totally.
people can go check, because I feel like if I was listening to this, I would want to know where you're getting this so I can go play it myself, because I obviously not make the same decisions.
I had a lot of fun with these. I think the mobile platform is the perfect place for these kinds of adventure books.
It just fits in really nice. I mean, there is something to say though about flipping through pages, flip to page 50 to do whatever.
That takes so much time.
Because then you always go and look back to see what would have happened to the other option. You're
like, spoilers.
I died. Okay,
you gotta
decision. Okay, that's
gotta just start over.
All right, so we're just gonna jump right back into it. Last time, I believe you came into port. You came into port with your new ship that you had commandeered, and you're now an official captain.
Yeah. So wait,
actually, I think you have a different title.
I'm a 19-year-old
acting lieutenant. You're 20.
I'm a 20-year-old.
You must have. I think you aged.
What?
While we weren't paying attention.
Oh, maybe. I mean, maybe when we were
your seniority is 1 year, so you've been
okay.
captain of that ship for 1 year. You only took it on one trip, but it was 1 year.
1 year.
I told you the time of this skip is gonna be weird.
And I started my sea life when I was 4.
Yeah, you were 3 years old, carrying gunpowder around.
I'm responsible for the deaths of a couple of my crewmates because I accidentally told them to load 2 cannonballs into.
Still, I don't see why that wouldn't have been a better option. That's a double shot.
Well, obviously because it exploded out the back. So
I know a lot about
shrapnel
cannons.
everywhere.
Trust me, it would have worked. All right, we're gonna jump right back into it. I'm just gonna read it from the top of this page.
Okay.
I don't know if we even read this page. You take up your new duties as an acting lieutenant on HMS Courageous. The responsibilities are much greater, and your duties have changed significantly. Where previously you were often on deck as an assistant for the officer of the watch, you now take your turns as the officer of the watch. Where you previously commanded a small group of guns. Nice. Where you previously commanded a small group of guns, you now command a broadside. And your duties studying under the ship's masters have completely ended. As a year passes, you have the opportunity to practice various skills. So that was the year pass.
More skills.
Which of your skills do you devote the most effort to training? All right, here's your choices. Sailing, gunnery, fighting with sword and pistol, leading the men on the ship, curing favor with my superiors.
Currying
favor with my superiors.
Currying, gathering.
And I spend my time training the midshipmen. I need to think like an officer now. Which one would you like to go with?
The midshipman one. I'm all about the
training.
people.
You're training them, even though they can die any second.
Yes.
Okay, makes sense.
What do you that's the worst train of thought.
I wonder what went up for you. Oh, you aged again. No, slow down. Now it's up to 2 years. So that was the age. So you've gone 2 years now, already.
Nice.
This ship, which to us sounds like forever. 2 years, but in this story, it sounds like it was literally 2 paragraphs. 2 years.
Yep.
Wow. I don't know what that went up on. Maybe leadership.
Because it's not my stats that went up. It's my shipman's stats that went up.
A remarkably responsible choice for one of your age and experience. You find that working with Mr. Midshipman Stewart, Is midshipman his name or his title? Mr. Midshipman Stewart.
It's not his name.
You thought that you were helping midshipman, but really that's just a dude named midshipman. Load the cannon. The dude named Cannon looks at you.
Like, what do you mean?
Both greatly helps him and also helps you master the skills you teach. You also learn a thing or two about leadership along the way. So your leadership probably went up. Finally, it's time for your lieutenant examination. You dress in your finest uniform and head over to a ship of the line HMS Dreadnought. Ooh, that's terrifying.
That's scary.
Where a board of captains has convened to examine a plethora of acting lieutenants and midshipmen on the finer points of naval skill. Those who pass are promoted to lieutenant. Those who fail must spend at least another year at sea before trying again. This seems like a bad idea to have all of your officers in one spot. Just thinking tactical standpoint. Like if I was the writer, this is where I'd set up a climactic point.
You'd have to like know where this is going to happen, and they wouldn't all be on
Imagine
like the same boat.
was pretty easy back then.
They do it like one by one.
Everyone would see them. They'd just be like, okay, there's all of the lieutenants of the Navy training all of their heirs on one ship. One bomb. Game over.
Well, there's probably so much like intellectual power there that if you were to go and attack it, you'd probably get destroyed.
You just
because those hot leadership skills would come out.
It's sitting in port.
They would unport.
Oh, okay. Well.
You just untie the rope, and now you're a full-on battleship.
Just untie the rope, Mitchell Payne. It's that easy. How to sail 101. Those who pass are promoted to lieutenant. Those who fail must spend at least another year at sea before trying again. After an interminable wait, your name is called, and you present yourself to the trio of captains. They take a perfunctory look at your papers and then launch into the examination. Captain Fitzroy, a middle-aged captain with a particularly hard cast to his face, begin questioning you on sailing skills. You are officer of the watch on a square-rigged ship carrying a full spread of sail. The wind is strong and steady. The barometer drops suddenly. What do? You stammer for a while. Finally, one of the other captain cuts in. The correct answer is to reef sail. Falling pressure makes bad weather likely, and you do not want a full spread of sail in a squall. Are you, like, learning any of this? Are you retaining any of this information?
Well, I'm just thinking about the fact that, like, one of my biggest, like, my top skill is leadership, but my second biggest skill is sailing. Yeah. I feel like I'd have this in the bag.
Oh, well.
But I'm just getting destroyed here.
He then launches into another question that you stumble through. After 10 minutes of agony, the captains confer privately, then inform you that you have failed the examination. It is with a bitter heart that you return to the HMS Courageous as a midshipman. So I think this is one of those moments where it wasn't really so much a test of you, it was part of the narrative.
Yeah, like, that I just have to fail.
You weren't meant to have a choice in this situation, even though your sailing is, like, super high.
Yeah.
Because it didn't present you anything.
Because if it was, like, a well-rounded thing, obviously if you get into, like, the combat part of it, I'm just terrible, so...
Yeah, they didn't give you a chance. If you had a little more patronage, you would have passed. Oh, yeah. So if you would have upped it there, so it wasn't about your sailing skill. It was about being buddy with all of the military, and that's I think that's one of your lowest skills. Yeah, your patronage is 26.
My lowest things are like
your likability and your leadership is pretty high.
So I would be like a good captain, but it's like I just don't have friends in high places.
You're just not snobby enough.
This is way too much politics. I hate politics.
That's how it works. Even worse than resuming the duties and status of a midshipman is the loss of the seniority that you occurred as an acting lieutenant. Now, when you finally become a lieutenant, you will be much more junior than you would have been otherwise. 2 years pass before you finally pass a subsequent examination. Wow.
So I missed another one?
Yeah. So you failed that one. You went back to being a midshipman, not a lieutenant. You sailed around on another ship as a midshipman for a while, came back, took the test, failed it again, went around as a midshipman again, and then came back again. You finally returned to the greater responsibilities and privileges of a lieutenant. So you had that's messed up because you had your taste of being a lieutenant.
Yeah, I had it for like a full year.
Yeah, you sailed a ship.
Yeah, I sailed for like 1 year.
2 years to get it to and from port. You avoided some conflict. You managed some prisoners, and they were like, no.
Gotta take the test.
Because politics. Wow,
politics.
That's lame. It's jumping right into conversation, but I don't know who's talking. 10 minutes before 8 bells, sir, the quartermaster reports. A steady breeze pulls your ship inevitably westbound for Kingsport. Very good, you say. Pipe the watch below. The first lieutenant, Mr. Pigott, arrives promptly to relieve you of your dog watch. Mr. Pigott. What kind of voice should Mr. Pigott have? I feel like he should be really old.
Yeah, give him like a just...
I relieve you, Mr. Smythe. My mom corrected me, and apparently it's not Smith, it's Smythe. And it's Old British. It's like Smythy, actually. You pronounce the E. I think it was like
well, if there's an E
or,
on it, I could see Smythe.
Yeah, you're supposed to like pronounce everything right, but it's Smith to us because we're Americans. So
well,
like,
because the E
it.
in like usual language is supposed to like change the pronunciation of a aforementioned vowel.
I just wanted
so it would turn Smith into Smythe if you put an E on it.
I just wanted to notify you that we are pronouncing it wrong and that we're going to continue to do so because we're American and we do things wrong.
America.
Because we can.
Yeah.
Because 4th of July.
Take your language and destroy it.
Aye, sir, I stand relieved. Good night, sir. Good night, Mr. Smith. Not long after you find yourself lying in your cot, drifting off to sleep, soon you begin to dream. You find yourself sitting for your lieutenant's examination. 3 gigantic captains are looking down at you with terrible grins, larger than life. Good day, Mr. Smith. My question to you is as follows. You are in temporary command of a 36-gun ship returning to Albion with maximum haste. The wind is with you and you are at full sail. The barometer reports a sudden drop in pressure. What do you do next? Oh,
I know remember? This. I know this.
1, I don't know the answer. I'm going to fail the exam. 2, stammer and stall for time. 3, make something up. 4, admit that I don't know. So this is
I know the answer. You're supposed to bring in the sails because you don't want them to be all the way out when you...
Stammer and stall for time, make something up, admit that I don't know, or I don't know the answer, I'm going to fail the exam.
Okay. Well, if that's all I have, I would take the bravest and most honest answer and just say, admit that I don't know.
Admit that I don't know, or I don't know the answer, I'm going to fail the exam?
Admit that I don't know.
Okay.
That one's much more confident.
The captains laugh cruelly. Failing the exam already, Smith? Any officer... I'm terrible at these voices. Any officer would know that a sudden drop in pressure indicates the arrival of a major storm. By the time you reef the sails, you'd probably lose a mast. Here's your next question, the second captain says. You're in temporary command of a 36-gun ship returning to Albion with maximum haste. The wind is with you, and you're at full sail. The barometer reports a sudden drop in pressure. What do you do next? Your options are, didn't you just ask me this question? A strong wind is coming. Let out more sail to pick up speed. Cut holes in the sail to maintain speed through the weather. We're about to be calmed. Prepare oars for rowing. Oh, no, all of these answers are incorrect.
Oh, no, all of these answers are incorrect.
Cut holes in the sail to maintain speed through the weather?
Why would that ever in any universe be the answer? You could just pull the sails down. You don't have to cut holes in them. I feel like someone's going to like...
The captain shrieked with laughter, chilling your bones. Even the most novice seaman would know that a drop in barometric pressure means an oncoming squall. You should have chosen to furl the sail. This is your final question. The third captain says, disapprovingly, you are in temporary command of 36-gun ship, returning to Albion with maximum haste. The wind is with you and you are at full sail. The barometer reports a sudden drop in pressure. What do you do next? Your answers are, a storm is coming, furl the sail to avoid disaster. The storm is coming, furl the sail to avoid disaster. A storm is coming, furl the sail to avoid disaster. Or, a storm is coming, furl the sail to avoid disaster.
I think this is the toughest question I've ever been faced with.
Yeah.
The choices are so complex. And I think I'm going to I want to go with, like, the rule of thirds. So I'm going to go with the third, like, selection.
Mr. Smith, you have officially failed this lieutenant examination. This is the worst performance I've ever seen in an active lieutenant. Furthermore, it is the unanimous agreement of the examination board that you shall be just rated and pressed into service as an ordinary sailor. Good day, Mr. Smith. You awake with a start. Drowsily, you can hear Pigott call the watch. It's midnight. The ship is heaving erratically. As you yawn deeply, your ears pop. The pressure has changed. Oh. Option 1, fall back asleep. Option 2, send word above deck. Option 3, go above deck.
Go above deck. Get up. The pressure's dropping.
By the time you get yourself dressed and on the deck, you find that things are already going to HE double hockey stick. Last night's steady breeze has become a gale. You feel the mist of rain on your cheek. Mr. Smith says, Pigott, greeting you formally. It's hard to see clearly, but you think you can spy Jones up. Oh, Jones is back. Jones up in the riggings along with 2 other men. Tell Pigott to furl the sail, politely bring up the weather, and ask what he suggests. Go back to bed.
Why would I go back to bed?
That's what I would do.
Just like, it seems like a disaster is brewing. You guys will figure it out.
You want to tell Pigott to furl the sail?
Yes, furl the sail. We just had a very long nightmare.
How tactless. You can't just tell Pigott what to do. He's your commanding officer. Wait, what? Since when?
Is he like...
What?
Is he...
Wait, what? You're lieutenant. I thought acting lieutenant was like highest.
No, it's not captain.
Well, obviously, but I thought for whatever reason in this instance it was, because it seems like you've been commanding your own ship.
Well, I think I was before, because I was a lieutenant, but there was no captain, so ergo I was highest in command.
Acting lieutenant, but now that you're just lieutenant, you're just
I was lieutenant acting captain, and now I'm not a lieutenant at all.
That's lame.
Or, no, I'm back to a lieutenant.
Well, I didn't even know Pigott was above you. Pigott laughs. You came all the way up here to tell me. Oh, so that's why you could have went to sleep. It's not even your ship. It's not even your ship. I would have went back to sleep. I'd be like, it's not my problem.
Yeah, I thought it was my responsibility, but apparently this.
You came all the way up here to tell me that. I've already got the men furling the sail. What do you take me for? Wow, this is bad. Just at that moment, Captain Kent appears from his cabin. Captain on deck, yells Pigott. You're not even captain. You're just some dude like, wait, I know the answer to this one.
Just like, I could just imagine like being on like a cruise ship and like waking up after a bad nightmare and just seeing it's like raining outside and just running up to the command deck and telling the captain, you have to furl the sails. And he's like, are you kidding me?
He's like, really? It's like, I have like 20 men already doing that. Thanks, though.
Are you being serious right now?
Thanks for the advice. That's like when your brother's watching over your shoulder as you play a game. He's like, shoot that guy, shoot that guy. And you're like, I am shooting that guy.
Is backseat driving to the next level?
Backseat sailing.
Backseat sailing. It's a new thing.
Oh, no. Just then, Jones falls from the riggings of the mizzen mast. Another sailor reaches out to catch him. The wind shrieks and the ship groans and leans precipitously. What? Precipitously.
Where is it?
Precipitously.
I thought it was going to be precariously, but there is a T in there.
This is making me... Okay, anyways. You hear the pop of someone's arm dislocate. Oh. Before anyone could say a word, both sailors have fallen to the deck. One of them killed instantly on impact. Oh, I hope it wasn't Jones.
Oh, yeah.
The captain takes over from here. After breakfast, all the officers of the ship gather together in the... After breakfast? What?
Wait a minute.
We're just skipping... Okay.
Somebody just fell out of a crow's nest and died, and we're like, well, time for breakfast.
After breakfast, all the officers of the ship gather together in the captain's cabin. Pigott takes a moment to turn to you and hiss. What were you trying to do last night? Make it seem to everyone that I don't know my job? You'll pay for your insolence. Wow. Okay, I thought Pigott was going to be a nice old man who was helping you command, but nope. He's your officer, and
we just...
Oof. Major league oof.
Wow,
you have no opportunity to defend yourself before the captain calls for everyone's attention. My question for you, Mr. Pigott, the captain says, is why were there still men on the riggings when the storm arrived? I could see from the deck that master's mate Jones hadn't reefed the sail correctly, replies Pigott, so I ordered the men to return aloft to secure it properly. The captain counters, Jones says that you gave the order to reef the sail too late and that he and Wilson were already under heavy weather. With all due respect, sir, Jones is an insubordinate and unskilled master's mate. I'm not surprised he has invented an excuse. I gave the order when it was needed. Oh, wow, you have nice choices here. Support Jones, support Pigott, or stay out of it? Jones, your little buddy, your master's mate. He's not your mate now because you're not master of the ship, but he was your master's mate when you took over the ship. Or support Pigott because you need the tact and you need the what was it? The patronage. Or just stay out of it.
This political thing infuriates me so much. I don't care if I become a beggar of the seas, just like floating on a barrel. just asking for someone to take me, I'm definitely going for Jones.
Yes.
Help Jones.
Yes. He's your little buddy, and he'll give you leadership. Sir, you interject, may I ask a question? Certainly, Pigott replies nervously.
Ooh, he knows.
The storm arrived quickly, as you said. How and when did you know that the sails needed to be reefed? Mr. Smith, you must be quite inexperienced to ask such a question. I knew the sails had to be reefed immediately when the wind picked up and the rain set in, and not when the barometric pressure dropped, asked the captain. Ooh. I've never gotten so excited over barometric pressures. There's a brief silence as everyone in the room realizes that Pigott has just admitted to a serious blunder. He turns red with rage and embarrassment. I gave the order at the right time, he insists, banging his fist on the table. I demand that Jones be flogged for his error reefing the sails. He wants him to be flogged.
You can't just go from obviously having made a mistake to demanding that someone else be flogged. Oh, yikes.
I'm sure he did the best he could under the circumstances you suggest. But his best was simply not good enough, and now 2 men are dead. The captain is silent for a moment, then says, Mr. Pigott, I will not mention you by name in my report on this to Admiralty, but I will remember this as I prepare future reports. As for Jones, the bosun will administer 20 lashes under Mr. Pigott's supervision. Wow. He didn't even care that he just admitted to being wrong. He's gonna give Jones lashes.
His patronage score was too high.
Wait, how can he give him lashes? He's just a sailor.
Well, he's a captain.
He's just
and so it's like
so
that was just like
do that to someone.
Well, I mean, I'm guessing at this time that was probably somewhat common because it's like you can't just like ground them to their room or something. Like you need them to be effective.
You can just like I don't know.
It's an effective form of punishment. I shouldn't say good.
They could just quit.
Where are you gonna go? You're still on the ship.
Just be like, I'm not having it.
You gonna put him in like the jail cell?
I guess
you need him.
As soon as you get back to the next port, he's gonna be like, all right, deuces. I'm done.
It could take a year.
I guess. I don't know.
You could either like flog a guy for 5 minutes, or you could like put him
all right. We're
in a cell for a year.
This is not the time you want to be devil's advocate. Bryce pipes up. Jones is still under the care of Dr. Miller. Very well. His punishment will be postponed until such time as Dr. Miller agrees to allow it. You're dismissed. So the doctor's going to heal him up just for him to go get lashes immediately after.
I mean, that is kind of how...
Once you're both out of earshot, Pigott leans in to whisper to you, mark my words, Smith, your career in this Navy is well and truly finished. Oh, now you have an enemy. As soon as he's able to walk, Jones is laid out for 20 lashes. Pigott has the bosun beat him as hard as he can. He's immediately returned to the surgeon's care. Yep. Later that night, a midshipman wakes you from very deep sleep. Mr. Pigott's compliments, sir, and he's passing the word for you. Wait, what?
Oh, boy.
Mr. Pigott's compliments, sir, and he's passing the word for you. Because he is senior to you, you have no choice but to report when he sends for you. You stagger out of bed, quickly pull on your uniform, and make your way to the deck, where Mr. Pigott awaits you with a nasty smile. Mr. Smith, did the weather change at all during your watch? Yes, sir, you reply as clearly as you are able. The wind changes twice during the evening, and at the end of my watch, the wind was favorable. Very well, you are dismissed. What an odd question. Couldn't he have gathered this information from the log? You find that you're a bit tired the following day. You find it difficult to avoid yawning disrespectfully, but you're in the Royal Navy. You can manage it. But 2 days later, Pigott wakes you up again in the middle of your sleep cycle. How many times did you throw the chip log to measure speed, he asks. 3 times, sir, you slur. Come again, Mr. Smith? Sir, I said 3 times. I see, Mr. Smith. In my opinion, you appear to be inebriated with rum. Sir, no, sir. It's almost 3 bells. You're exhausted, but you're not drunk. Well, I'll see to it this won't happen again. You're not to have another drop of rum until my orders is that clear. Aye, sir, you are dismissed, Mr. Smith. Pigott wakes you again 3 days later to ask whether the captain gave you any standing orders that he should be aware of as the next watch standing officer, and again 2 days after that. Mr. Pigott wakes you at least once every 2 or 3 days for the next 3 weeks. Sometimes he takes the opportunity to lecture for an hour on the importance of respect and good discipline on the ship. He's doing everything in his authority to make your life HE double hockey stick. The following evening, you catch yourself nearly falling asleep on duty, an offense punishable by death.
Okay, wait. That is
Okay, wait. Now that it's you on the chopping block, you're not so favorable for these capital punishments.
The other one was like, you know, he did a job poorly and he got flogged, but falling asleep does not point death. Okay.
All right, your options are try to apologize to Pigott, ask Mr. Bryce what to do about this, complain directly to the captain, or tough it out.
I'm actually really conflicted about this one. Like, I
feel like
torn.
if you tough it out, you'll get tact. Maybe Mr. Pigott will respect you.
But maybe because I have low tact, I won't be good at tugging it out.
Oh, maybe.
Like maybe.
If you try to apologize to Pigott, it's gonna make you look like.
I hate Pigott with all my being.
Ask Mr. Bryce what to do about this. He'll probably think less of you. Complain directly to the captain. I don't know.
It depends on how the captain responds. Like,
I mean, the last time the captain heard you and then still gave Jones lashes. So.
Yeah, honestly, nobody really likes me on the ship, do they?
Nobody likes you, period.
Oh,
I think Jones and maybe like the other sailors might.
Yeah.
Like you would make a good pirate, but not well in the Navy.
Yeah, the people, the people in positions of actual authority. I guess I just have to tough it out.
Okay, let's do that.
Wow, this is unfortunate.
The next night, Pigott wakes you again at 3 bells. The following afternoon, you catch yourself dozing during duty. It couldn't have been more than a few seconds. No one appears to have noticed this time. As you head below deck, you see a handful of sailors whispering together. As soon as they catch sight of you, they stop abruptly and go their separate ways. What do you think they're whispering about? It's harmless gossip, or they're planning a mutiny? Wow. Ooh.
I hope it's a mutiny, honestly. So go with that.
What do you plan to do about it? Loudly ask what they're whispering about? Pull one of them aside to ask what they're whispering about? Tell someone about the whispering, or do nothing?
Pull one of them aside. I think that
you want to get in on this.
Yeah.
Alan, may I have a word with you? Move a little closer to your cabin. What was the little gathering about? With all due respect, sir, I don't think you want to know. Swear to secrecy. I don't think I want to know. Or threaten Alan.
Secrecy.
Okay.
I'm really curious.
You don't have a lot of tact, but you do have relatively high bloodthirst, and I don't know how that's going to come into play. You have 57% bloodthirst.
Probably just mad now.
You have a good amount of courage and honor too. Just low tact. You can swear up and down, but there's nothing to tell you, sir. He emphasizes the word "sir" oddly. Ooh, there's nothing to tell you, sir.
Sir.
Or is it sir? I don't think I want to know, or threaten Alan.
Threaten.
Alan, if you don't tell me the purpose of that assembly, the lash will be the least of your concerns. You emphasize the word assembly, evoking the 19th article of war. The one about mutinous assembly. Alan's face is now completely expressionless. I don't know what you mean, sir, he says, even looking straight into your eyes. If you will excuse me, sir, I have some duties to attend to. Drop the matter or report a possible mutiny.
Report it. I'm out. I'm done.
Wow.
I'm upset.
I thought you were a peepers man. Who do you want to tell? Tell Bryce, tell Pigott, tell the captain, discuss it with all the officers.
Can I go back? Can I change my mind?
It's actually not a bad idea.
I just think this is like...
No, you got to pick one.
I got to pick one?
It's your choice.
I
feel like discussing it with all of them is better because then you have multiple people hearing you rather than a couple different people.
But then it could look like... Then it could look like I'm trying too hard and I'm trying to sabotage them.
I think the only person you can trust is Captain. If you told Pigott, he could warp it.
Yeah.
If you tell Bryce, he could warp it.
Who's Bryce again?
I don't know. Someone.
He's
guy. Just another like lieutenant.
All right. You know what? You know what? Go to the captain. Let's.
Smoke and Oakham. Do you really think it's mutiny? Yes, sir. Yes, I do, sir. But you can't be sure. It's just a few whispers and you're suspicious. Yes, sir. The captain shakes his head. Tell the other officers keep an eye out for suspicious behavior. If you're right, we've got a royal mess on our hands. A few days later, another major storm hits. At almost 4 bells, you find yourself wide awake. Can you tell what the time is by that? 4 bells? I don't know what that means.
I imagine it's like 4 a.m. because a clock, when it rings, because it rings for the amount of hours that it is.
So at 12, you just have to go ham on that bell?
What?
Because you have to ring it 12 times.
Yeah.
It's painful.
Or do you... No, yeah, you ring it 12 times.
Sounds like a nuisance. You find yourself wide awake entirely against your will. Unable to return to your sleep, you pull on your uniform and go above deck for some fresh air. On deck, you encounter a most unusual sight. The sky is pouring icy rain. Mr. Pigott is wrestling with 2 sailors on the edge of the deck. They're trying to push him overboard. They are trying to murder him. Another sailor is on deck watching the fight but not involved. You're pretty sure he hasn't noticed you yet. Save Pigott's life. Return below deck for some much-needed sleep. Oh, I know what I would do.
Oh, jeez. Oh, this is bad.
Okay, if it was a movie, you would save him anyways, and then he would still treat you like trash until the end of the movie. He's going to come out of nowhere and save you and be like, I owe you one, but now we're even. Like, I'm just saying, if it was any movie, that's exactly how it would go down.
I feel like I've just dug too deep with this Piglet guy. I mean,
Piglet?
Like, what's his name?
Pigott?
I called him Piglet. Because, yeah, I was mean the first time, but I threw him under the bus the second time.
So you want to save him or return below deck for some much-needed sleep? Not even ignore it. You're going to bed. You're like, nope, I don't care if this guy dies. I need some rest.
Okay, so hashtag this is theoretical. This is on the radio. This is purely for entertainment. I'm going back to sleep.
You're a terrible person. You're 100% sure with that choice?
Yep.
Oh, God. In a tragic accident, Pigott falls overboard, lost at sea. How do you feel about Pigott's death? Saddened, frightened, angry, relieved, happy, or nothing?
I feel nothing.
This is terrible. He's just gone. He's just gone. You just decided, nope. And you feel nothing about it.
I feel nothing.
You just were really tired.
I feel nothing. I was tired.
I mean, now he's off your back.
Yeah.
Mr. Bryce, now the first lieutenant, asks you privately, Mr. Smith, do you really think it was an accident? You're to say, yes, I'm sure it was an accident, or no, I don't think it was an accident.
I don't think it was an accident at all. I think it was definitely mutiny.
I agree. We should launch an investigation. The investigation seems half-hearted. Eventually, the case is closed. Life aboard Courageous slowly returns to normal, running much more smoothly under Bryce's hand than under Pigott's months past. Okay, so it looks like you did the right thing. It seems like the Jones getting the lashes for Pigott speaking out made all the sailors mutinize and get rid of Pigott. Not you, luckily. And now it's you and Bryce and the captain running things. I mean,
one big happy family.
Yeah,
minus Piglet.
Minus Piglet. It was now in an ICC somewhere.
I have on a nice cocoa with a polar bear.
Watch him like return later in the story.
That would be horrifying.
Legs missing.
That would accelerate.
Yeah. That's what I would do if I was the writer. The tropical sun is hot, even through your hat, and it glares. Oh, we're in the tropics now. And it glares painfully off the water. Through your stinging eyes, you can see looming up ahead the cliffs of a little island, a tiny place uninhabited according to the charts. About halfway between the prow of Courageous and the island, the sea is marked by the white canvas sail of a Gaulish merchant ship. Streaking towards the island as fast as she can go, running desperately away from the Courageous pursuit. More sail, the captain commands. Immediately the men jump to obey. Feet pounding on the deck and shouts echoing from rigging, canvas snaps, and billows overheard. But you can tell it isn't enough. The little Gaulish ship is faster under the light wind and has too great a head start. I do not think we can catch her, you say quietly to Bryce. We must catch her, Bryce. What should Bryce sound like? I feel like Bryce is a really honorable but plain. He seems like a Norman.
How do you sound like honorable but plain? Like you as River always sound honorable but plain.
Oh wow. Okay. I'm hurt.
It's not hurtful.
We must catch her. Should I give him like a German accent? We must catch her.
We must catch her. How do you?
No, that's not happening. We must catch her, Bryce replies before she gets much nearer shore. We can't maneuver Courageous in those shallow waters. And indeed, before very long, the captain is forced to call off pursuit, citing just that reason. Courageous stays a safe distance out in deep water. You and many others stare resentfully at the escaped prize, nestled against shore in the company of another Gaulish merchant vessel, one that was already there. The Gauls must use the island often for resupply. Mr. Bryce, Mr. Smith, the captain's voice cuts through your reverie. In my cabin, if you please. We can hold them pinned here indefinitely, the captain says. I feel like the captain needs a more rich voice. But we can't get close enough to engage them directly, which means a cutting-out expedition is called for. A group of men will be sent to approach the merchant ships in the dead of night, board them secretly, take them over, and sail them away from the island as prizes.
There are 2 ships, so our force will be divided in 2. Mr. Bryce, you will command one half. Mr. Smith, you will command the other. Except, see, if Pigott was around, that wouldn't happen. Except that each enemy ship has a complement of 30 men. You will each have 40 under your command. Few lieutenants get such a chance to prove their capabilities. If you are able to pull this off, it will be a significant boost to your career. So how are you feeling about this? I'm imagining you're not going to be feeling too hot since your gun and sword, your pistol and sword skills not too hot. And
but
this isn't ship battle. This is like hand to hand on the deck.
But I'm leading the ship, right?
No,
so
you're not leading a ship. You're sneaking aboard their ship in the dead of the night. So you're like getting on the island, sneaking on the ship. You don't have a ship. The ship's like off somewhere else.
Oh, well, in that case, this is awful.
Yeah. So how are you feeling about this? Thrilled. I've been waiting for this sort of opportunity for a while. Now I have no doubt at all I will succeed brilliantly and impress the captain. Determined this is going to be difficult, but I will give it everything I have and hope that is enough. Terrified I'm not able to pull this off. It could present a significant setback to my career. Isn't that just like the Navy to put you into positions where there's only a tiny chance of success and then punish you for failure, or wish the captain chose someone else?
I would go with determined.
Thrilled,
Determined
or terrified.
I just really like the writing on that terrified answer. Like, it's just so. Oh, isn't that like the Navy to just?
All right, which one?
Yeah, I think as our final thing, I'm gonna go with end this on a terrified note.
You're terrified.
Spooky.
Yeah, I'm not gonna read the next page. So when we come back, we have the terrified Mr. Smith and a platoon of 40 men sneaking in the night to capture a couple Gaulish ships. Yep. So
kind of convinced my character is kind of a sociopath, likable guy, but is willing to just let people fall overboard and not care.
Strangely likable, but have no morals. All right. Well, I've been River Tuck.
I've been Mitch Payne,
and we'll see you next time.